Well, hello, y'all, so-and-so members. Thank you so much, as always, for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. This is my review of D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves. I went back to the theater for the first time to see this movie. The last time I had been in the theaters was seeing The Little Women. I know it's not called The Little Women. It was Little Women in 2019, about a month before the pandemic. That was the Florence Pugh kind of take on the Louisa May Alcott movie. It was great, whatever. And then everything else had been at home because of the pandemic, and there just hadn't been any reason for me to go back to the movies. And for some reason, I guess I was just like, it's starting to feel like spring. I'm excited for summer. I love summer movies. And I'm like, fuck it. You know, and I knew this is also kind of video game adjacent. Not every video gamer loves D&D, but a lot of us do. And I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to go see it. So I saw it the other day. And I loved going back to the theater to the point that I immediately bought tickets. We're going to go see Mario Wednesday. The very first showing of Mario, because I'm like, oh, this was really cool to be back when the reclining seats and they bring you the popcorn, and the whole experience was great. So I was glad to be back. But so I see this motion picture, and I guess the number one question is it worth you seeing? And believe it or not, this is kind of a hard movie to talk about as it relates to a review, I guess. I mean, I don't consider myself a reviewer, whatever that means. But if I'm recommending it, what I'll say is it's really good. It is a really good movie. Whether you see it in a theater or whether you see it on streaming or 2 years from now when it's just on like commercial television and you happen to see it on a rainy Sunday afternoon, it works wherever you see it, or on an airplane. It feels, the movie that kept coming to mind when I was watching this was The Rock and Kevin Hart's Central Intelligence. You can even argue Jumanji, like it's the remake. It's frothy and light and fun. Yeah, there's heart to it. There's pathos to it. It has some meat on the bones, but it's not one of those movies that when it gets going, it's not like it's not like a John Wick, or it's not like a classic action movie or a classic action comedy. It's not that, but it is a great kind of B plus. It's a lot of fun. It's not forgettable. There are those action movies like, oh man, what I'm trying to think of one. Remember the Meg, the giant shark movie? And it was like, okay, I saw it. I was whatever, it's in one ear, out the other, right? That's not this. This will stick with you enough to go, hey, that was a really fun time at the movies. And if you're looking for that, wherever you happen to watch it, this will totally do the job. It's good. It's really good. It starts off the first quarter of it, because it's like a 2-hour movie plus. It's a long movie. The first 25% of the movie feels more like the Meg, in that if the rest of the movie was that, I think most people would forget about it. It would just be like, whatever. I would have left it and gone like, if you don't see it, you'll be fine. But what really is interesting, both sort of metaphorically as it relates to storytelling and as it relates to the video game or the game design mechanics of Dungeons & Dragons, about 25% of the movie, when it starts to get really good, like Central Intelligence good, like a great fun frothy action movie comedy, is when all of the characters finally come together, right? So it's almost like the first 25% you're having to build the team and build the party. And there are movies that do that well. This movie does that part just okay. But once they come together, it's awesome. And it's not just awesome because they play off each other well as characters and personalities and stuff, but very much like D&D, when they start using their powers together and playing off each other's powers, it's like, oh, that's fucking cool. There's a scene, I'm not going to ruin anything about it other than to say it happens in the woods. Okay, well, everything's in the woods. It's D&D, but or dungeons. But it's that you just saw in the trailer of her doing that thing with the flip. That's the scene I'm talking about. That's where you're just like, okay, that's fucking cool. And then it just goes on and on and on with I don't want to oversell it, but like I said, at its best, it's a fantasy kind of version of Central Intelligence. That's at its best. And I love that for what it is. So I loved it. All the characters are likable. Chris Pine is one of those guys that I'm going to go to my grave unless he breaks out and goes, because every time I see him as Kirk in this and Wonder Woman, you're like, that guy should be a big fucking star. And he just, he just doesn't seem to ever get the roles, but he's great in it. Michelle Rodriguez is great in it. Hugh Grant's great in it. And he seems like, he's such an asshole in real life, it seems. But in this, he's really funny and he gets the job done. It's great. The other thing I really appreciated about the movie is it's really well written. A lot of times with these kind of movies where you get a sense of like, you can just see the studio notes and fingerprints all over it. It's like, I'm an executive and I read a screenwriting book and we need stakes. We have to have stakes. And so they get kind of shoehorned in and there's lip service to sort of character arcs and emotions and all this shit. But ultimately it just falls flat. I was thinking about Iron Man 1. Right. One of the things I thought was so cool about Iron Man 1 is when Jeff Bridges was revealed to be the big bad guy and he became Ironmonger. That made every piece of sense in the world. It was great for the plot. It was great for the characters. It was great for the pacing. It felt organic and fluid and right. This movie, when it comes to like Chris Pine's arc, Michelle Rodriguez's arc, a couple other characters, I don't want to spoil anything. The Sorcerer. It actually, when they do kind of move through their character journey, it doesn't feel like rote. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're just kind of doing platitudes like I've grown and learned that, it really works. It feels like somebody who knows how to write was actually writing this fucking thing. So I thought that was great. It's a little long, but who cares? It's Dungeons and Dragons. Probably, again, metaphorically, it's beautiful. Most D&D campaigns probably do go on way too long, but it's not like, hours long. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. There almost seems to be like an ending and then another ending, but the other ending is still good. It's not like the Hobbit's jumping on the bed. It's genuinely a good second ending. So, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it. It's not the kind of movie that if, I went to my grave and that's the second time I've used went to my grave in this video. What's going on, Jaffe? If I went to my grave God damn it, stop. If I died and I had never seen it, it wouldn't be like, oh my God, I regret it. This is bubblegum. This is pink lemonade. This is, like I said, frothy, fun, light, a great spring movie, a great matinee, or a great thing to watch when you're just feeling kind of and you're at home and it comes on. I don't fucking know what commercial TV is anymore. Everything's streaming for me. But, like TBS, if that's still around, it's worth seeing if you're into that kind of thing. If you're expecting some kind of Lord of the Rings thing, no. The other thing, I'll tell you one more quick thing. I'm a layperson D&D fan, right? I grew up knowing about the modules. I looked at a lot of the books. I never played it because I didn't have anybody to play it with. I've only played my first proper D&D campaign this last year. I watched the cartoon. I read some of the books, like, was it like Silverlance or Dragonlance or whatever? But so, I know a little bit about the referral, what they're referring to in the movie. It doesn't feel to me like Star Wars Phantom Menace did, where it was just like you could see Lucas going, oh, let's put 3PO with Anakin, and oh, look, that's Boba Fett. That's Boba Fett's kid. It broke out of the story, and it was like, hey, look, remember this? There's that. This has a bunch of stuff that even a lay D&D fan like me recognized, but it was well written. It was all embedded in the story. I'm trying to think of magical objects, even like you see in the trailer there, right? That the very famous enemy, the slime, like the living slime that captures you and it dissolves your flesh and it's acid. That's in the movie, and I'm not spoiling because you see it. That's in the movie, but it's not in the movie like, remember, if you like D&D, that's for you, wink. It's in the movie, and it's actually plot and character serving. And it's like, fuck, they're doing it right. Like I said, somebody knows how to write this fucking thing. Everything that I saw that I recognized from D&D, even some things that you'd go, that cameo is pretty delightfully egregious, still ties back to the story. And even in the case of the most egregious group of cameos, if you're a kid of the 80s like me, still ties into character. So Very well written movie. A lot of fun, worth it. I hope you see it. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, thank you again for supporting the channel. I'm talking weird too because I cut my tongue. I appreciate it very, very much, and I sure am grateful for it. So thank you guys and girls, ladies, guys. Just thank humans. Fuck. How do you end a D&D review? I don't fucking know. Be well. Go see D&D. Let me know what you think. I'll be reviewing Tetris soon too. Spoiler alert. Fucking awesome. All right. See you soon.